There we are. So I can see a little tiny me at the top. And I can see beautiful you here.
Oh,
So
likewise.
thank you, darling. Thank you. So grateful. So grateful to be here with you in
It's such a
celebration.
pleasure. Yeah, it's a complete pleasure. Well, let me just then start with a formal introduction. Thank you so much for participating in the World Creativity and Innovation Week 2023 and day. And we're extremely grateful and honored to have you here with us. And welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me, dearest Goran. Thank you. Yeah.
It's such a pleasure to have you with us again this year. And as someone that's engaged in creativity work very deeply, and that's, I think, really produced work that's benefited many of us, including myself, I'm always excited and always wondering, about our interactions and what we'll learn and share with you. I guess the first question I would like to maybe start a conversation with is just to sort of tell us a little bit about yourself.
Right. Well, my name is Robinska, and I am like the essence of me is love. That is what I'm all about, is love, and also very, very clear seeing. So seeing with love, it's seeing without love is not so helpful. Seeing with love is, I find it's like a way of being in the world that is supportive of creativity, because in people open when they are met with love. I looked at your eyes just now, they open to this idea of love as something that really supports us to be all of who we are. And when we can bring all of who we are into any context, it is very profound. So simple, so simple.
Wow. That's so wonderful and moving and so inspiring because as a fellow creativity and innovation practitioner, often we're part of communities where we are asked a lot of questions about methods and we facilitate methods with others, and we work to enable individuals and teams and groups and organizations and hopefully communities in using these methods. And yet one thing that often seems quite elusive is why are sometimes methods more successful than at other times. And what I'm hearing, in your wonderful description there is this different way of seeing, that enables a lot of our creativity and innovation methods and allows us to connect much more deeply, so that it's not just the structure of creativity or innovation, it's also how we I'm hearing you say kind of approach it and our degree of openness and how we see.
Absolutely. So it's like you very, very well said, because without tending to the inner, the thing for this is that each of us is a little different inside. When we bringing the inner, which will be sourced from love, our inner essence is love. The inner essence of the universe is love. When we are sourcing from our inner essence, then we are able to bring more gifts to the world. Some call it sacred medicine. What is your sacred medicine? So for you, dear one, I see your medicine is your joy and your appreciative nature. And you bring that into that is your essence. I see it in you every time I meet you. And you are so celebratory naturally. It's like so beautiful. I feel like I can bring all of me here, which of course, this way of being is the inner essence of Kate, whom you also know. And so finding the inner avatar is a way to unlock it for ourselves. What if you were to give it big space? What if you were to step even more into your sacred medicine, what might happen?
Wow. Thank you so much. That is so powerful and so inspirational. I'm feeling my inner joy just amplified as you say that. And thank you for calling that out, because for a while now, I guess our global community has been thinking about how might we amplify our impacts. And perhaps today that is more important and relevant than ever, with our challenges that we're encountering in the world, and the so-called global crises, which are, of course, manifestations and creations at various levels. And some of the approaches to address that have been around thinking about our strengths, and so finding our inner strengths, the strength finder approach, and so on. And I wonder whether what we're hearing you say here is even deeper than that, finding the true essence of who we are in order to engage, and moving from that as a way of really building on the nature of ourselves, and as you suggest, also the leverage in the nature of the universe too.
I love what you do with what I say. You make it better. You build
I doubt that.
in beautiful ways, because the finding of your inner essence, or each of us finding our inner essence, when we do that, not only are we more in the sense of woof, like for me to know that my essence is loving seeing means that I don't hide it somehow. Like I feel, and I feel like I have the universe at my back.
Wow.
I feel like it's not my little ego running show, it's inner essence. And with that space, I think what we underestimate is the power of the field, the energy field. So one person showing up with all their sacred medicine opens space for others to do the same thing. It is like a elixir in the space of a group or a organization. But even if you're doing it in your bedroom, just by yourself, it also ripples. Like we totally underestimate how our inner, where we're sourcing from, affects what happens in the world. Huh.
Wow, that is so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I guess we have been invited in many ways over the previous decades to kind of consider this shift by, many sort of leading thinkers and artists and others to sort of move from this kind of Newtonian way of viewing the world towards a more sophisticated and perhaps more beautiful way, viewing the world, the one of fields, as you suggest, and where we kind of are able to enact our work in more profound ways. And I guess that takes me sort of to my second question, really, in our kind of discourse, like how do you relate it to your own role and sort of like you being here? How do you sort of interpret that question of like, why are you here? And would you mind reflecting on that a little bit?
Well, I want to thank you for being here right now, because I am here to crack things, to open space. Like I have been in, for example, celebrations of people, in ceremonies. Sometimes I am in disguise, not in my full redness, but I am in wanting to be more. Like I just feel this is way, from my experience, showing up like this with all of this creates liminal space, and it opens possibilities that weren't there before. So there's times when Kate is facilitating and I come out just in the voice. And with it is this, like, there's a little zip, because suddenly it is going to a deeper level. Like it's like, oh, I see you, I see you. And it can be just a little bit. Kate has kept me in the cupboard a lot, and she recently made a deeper shift. So it's like here, now I'm here to support the shifts that are seeking to emerge, that are emerging. And for me, consciousness matters most. So it is like shifting where we source from. I'm very good at it. I'm very good at that.
Yeah, it's so wonderful, and we're so, I think, privileged and glad to have you here with us. I can feel the ripples of this wonderful message rippling through already. Because when I think of us as change makers, as innovators and creatives, often I feel that there's this sense that we can get a little tired and a kind of little exhausted, and sometimes looking at ourselves and our agency in the universe might appear as if we're really encountering something that's kind of overwhelming, and that can affect us as change makers and reduce our energy a little bit. And instead, what I'm hearing in what you describe is a kind of a different kind of invitation, a kind of a reconnecting to an inner vitality that's much deeper and that's working with the universe.
Yes, yes, you say it in a way that really brings it clearer and clearer. So this phrase, inner avatar. People talk about subpersonalities. Yes, many, many subpersonalities. You can be teacher, you can be terrorist, all the different subpersonalities. Inner avatar for me is distinction of saying, what is with costume, with voice, with mannerisms, what is a way of expressing, of painting on yourself with an expression of your inner essence? That's inner avatar. And it is a profound inner resource for sourcing energy, for sourcing clarity, for sourcing potency. Like it's a way of being, just kind of the words, like you are in the fabric of the story moment. So inner avatar never, like I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't have a script. I am in the moment listening. And it is about listening for life, as you say, as life that is behind you. It's about listening to what is most true. And at times, I say loving, seeing, it is not always lovey-dovey. Like sometimes it's really clear. And sometimes is what the person knows, does not want to hear, or group knows, does not want to hear. And they can hear it because it comes on this kind of it's like not at the personal level. It's coming at a different levels, more soul, more essence.
Thank you so much for that. That is so wonderful. And I feel like it's a continuing conversation, that we're all benefiting from in your own work, in Kate's work, and in terms of understanding really how do we present, deepening our practices, as creatives and facilitators, and innovators, and being present and in really listening. And I feel like every time we converse, I'm learning more and more insights. As sort of the result is I get more insights that are sparking in me. It's just so wonderful. Let's just build on that, on that wonderful notion of the inner avatar. How do you link, this inner avatar with creativity and innovation? How do you see that process connected?
Well, for one, it is very creative to explore your inner avatar. That's it's like letting yourself be a kid, to just play with the tickle box, they call, like that, where you have all those things. I have helped people find their inner avatar. And so that's one part of creativity. Other part of creativity for inner avatar is this, that it opens the space. So it is like I say earlier, and just to build on that, is when there is this a rupture from status quo. So the inner avatar rupture status quo. It says we are in different space now, and there is so much more possibility. So much more possibility, because there is not the trap of story. There is not the weight of the dominant narrative of everything. The inner avatar is like, yeah, open space of possibility.
Wow, that is just so wonderful and so freeing. Thank you for that. You know, as part of attempting to deepen my own understanding of sort of various forces in, you know, sort of elements in the world of innovation and kind of our current global sort of situation, part of the exploration that I've been doing, it was just to kind of attempt to understand philosophy a little bit deeper. And you know, I've been kind of trying to find leading thinkers and so on. And it's actually very interesting because you know, even when we talk about and when we listen to conversations with some of the leading thinkers, such as Slavoj Žižek, who's kind of brilliant on many levels, you know, even Slavoj Žižek sort of says, well, only catastrophe can save us now. And that's sort of not necessarily a message that seems so empowering. And when I contrast that with what you're saying, this notion of sort of opening spaces and the spaces of possibilities, it somehow seems so much more workable for us, you know, as change makers and as innovators and as creatives. There's something seemingly much more gentle and much more powerful about it. Although, you know, as you say, it does seem to kind of demand, request sort of the postponing of this narrative that we seem to be so kind of devoted to, to kind of open other possibilities by going inward.
Yes, and so to add to that is to honor that we are in a great unraveling. We are in a great dying. We are also in a great rebirthing. This is what, you know, if you think what is like for the baby being born, is like total intensity, is whooshing and heaving and very uncomfortable, not pleasant. We are in great death and rebirth, and there is, and babies die. Some die. Sometimes the mama dies. Like, we are in big times. To say we aren't is to miss the opportunity, to not be present for the depths of transformation possible. What is needed is to have a source in the chaos, a source in the turmoil that allows you to hold yourself together. So you're not together. What is it? To be the being part, the being able to access the inner stillness and the inner knowing, and to stay anchored in the inner knowing that there is underneath all this is love, that it is not, there is a birthing happening, and the intensity now of the chaos, the intensity of how many systems are needing to collapse, and the intensity of everything coming on top of each other is, if we are able, a portal for birth. To do that, you have to keep breathing. You have to keep, like, what do? You breathe, and you say welcome, and you say, you hold the vision of what you are, of what you see birthing. You say, this is I love Charles Eisenstein. The more beautiful world our hearts know is possible. That for change makers to keep finding an inner source, because otherwise you burn out. Otherwise you are, you cannot face it. You cannot face all. And so, and don't do it alone is the other thing. Don't do it alone. So be supported. Yeah.
That's so lovely. Don't work alone. And, you know, so often we find ourselves kind of having this image of kind of like fighting the good fight by ourselves. And I love your invitation to sort of be part of the transformation in a different way. But by going into that sacred medicine. That sort of takes me to my next question. You know, how can others find their sacred medicine? How do you see that process?
Yes, well, maybe people just have a little inkling, just listening, watching, you know, it's like, geez, but many ways, there's not one way, many ways. One way is literally to ask, like, to play, like to put on costume, see what happens. This is one way. Another way is to ask for a dream. If people have active dreams, ask for a dream. What is my sacred medicine? Another way is to ask people who love you, what is my sacred medicine? What when you me, what gifts do you receive from me that mean a lot to you? So that they will, people who love you see you, and they will, and they'll be, you get, maybe you ask like 3, 5, and you see where there are patterns and if there's something there.
Wow.
Yeah, I came because Kate was doing something. She needed to make a banquet special. And when I came, it was like, you cannot put me back in the box, please. Like, I am here. I want to be part of the conversation. And that's the other thing to say is, it's good to discover in avatar, to integrate it more. It's the gift that we, in our culture, Western dominant culture, I say, we don't cultivate so much as indigenous people do, you know, like the naming of the medicine that someone brings, this person, you know, some of the names they mean, you know, that this person is an asshole. Well, why? Because they disrupt things, you know, that's their gift, and we honor that. We honor that. So that is not so honored. And so there's a part of transformation is doing it ourselves. Like, it's like, I don't need you to honor me. I know that I am here. I can source from the love of God, the love of the universe, the love of life, the love of whatever. Like, it's that word God came out of me. I hope that does not block people from seeing this.
Yeah, it's so wonderful. We're so glad to have you here. And the messages you bring, I feel, are so important and so empowering. And I truly appreciate, you know, everything you said. And certainly, you know, the part about us starting to learn and pay a little bit more attention to the native traditions that, curiously enough, we thought them to be the primitive peoples. And we now start realizing that, in fact, they're far more advanced in many ways in psychosocial development and deeper insights, and that we're only actually starting to open to that, and that there's deep wisdom to learn from there, which is wonderful, I think, and a source of great promise for us as a civilization. Is there anything else you'd like to add on top of your absolutely wonderful sharing, for which we're tremendously grateful?
Well, what comes for me is to thank you and to honor the UN and the World Creativity and Innovation Day and Week, just to say that is a beautiful offering in celebration. The fact that each piece is called a celebration, I think, is important, because we miss the celebrating. We don't pause to celebrate or to give thanks enough. And so that, I thank you, and I thank this creation of a celebration together. So much fun, so sweet, so lovely. And to just wish this celebration goes far and serves many, many, many. So hope so. And I thank you again, dearest Goran. Thank you.
It's such a pleasure. Thank you so much, Robinska. Many thanks to Kate. Many thanks for this conversation as part of the World Creativity and Innovation Week and Day 2023. As you say, may it be a platform for empowerment and inspiration for many of us around the world, which it increasingly is. And thank you so much for joining us this year.
Thank you. Thank you. Ciao, ciao.